we have the Short Story Contest Award Ceremony. This is very exciting. In real life, outside of this fancy outfit that I'm wearing here, I am actually a publisher and a writer myself. And so when I see the rise of people who are writing, telling stories from the African context, from African Black people telling their stories, it makes me very excited. So Hamwe Festival brought together actually 479 applicants who wrote their stories, short stories. Among those, we have 14 that were selected in 2 languages, 7 for English and 7 for French, from Zimbabwe, from Haiti, from Rwanda, of course, from Rwanda, and from all over the world, actually. And I'm so excited that tonight we're going to award them and to hear about them. Some, it's going to be, as I kept telling you, half virtual, half in person. We have the judges here. We want to hear from them. How did they select the stories? What did they like about the stories? So let the short story contest award ceremony begin. Can we have a little bit of a dance? Yes, so this contest happened in partnership with UGHE and the Kigali Public Library, which we are here today. And the Kigali Public Library has been a huge, huge support for young writers. When I personally started in 2015 with Imagine We, the support of the Kigali Public Library was massive. And they are also engaging with all writers, be it internationally and nationally, to make sure that the African written word grows and expands. So without further ado, I want to welcome Françoise Tuishime, who is the representative of the Kigali Public Library tonight, and Injonge Karangwa, the Director of Arts and Culture in Global Health Public Engagement at UGHE. They're going to have a conversation around this contest and how everything happened. Thank you and welcome. Yes. Oh. So I'm just going to find myself a little corner here. It's all right. And welcome, ladies. Are you all set? Do you have a microphone? Yes, awesome, wonderful. So yes, this competition, as I was saying, welcomed about 479 applicants from all over the world, talking about the pandemic, how it affected them, the lockdowns, everything that happened. And you guys were the main actors in making this short story contest come to life. I wanted to ask Injonge Karangwa, you have an interesting mix between the global health field, but also the creative field. What do you think a contest like this, what makes it important? Especially talking about health and creative, what merges this?
Thank you for this question. Welcome everybody to Hamwe Festival. So, to your question, why a contest like this and why we think it's important? First, we do believe that understanding health and solving general health problems or health sector system problems should be the work of everyone. So, definitely engaging on health topics is important. The second reason and why this form, there's something quite special about storytelling that allows to develop an issue within its context. And when you take a problem, for example, like this virus, to understand all the layers of the problems that allow this virus to become a global pandemic. Not every coronavirus become a global pandemic that shut down the world and the economies of so many countries. What happened? How this one went from animal to human? What type of interaction do we have with the environment? What type of lifestyle allows something like that? And now, after this is a global pandemic, why some are affected more than others, what are the factors in their lives, in their environment, again. And I guess that to solve problems, you first have to understand them, and to understand them, you have to analyze them. And storytelling allows that. So I think that's why this partnership between, yes, I would say literature, writers, and health professionals is important. And in addition, as a creative myself, I do believe that it's great to create platforms for creatives. It's great to demonstrate the important social role of creatives. It's great to encourage people to write. It's great to encourage people to read. All of that is the reasons why we think that such a contest is important.
Yeah, thank you so much. And that's actually a great segue to my question for Françoise. You guys are the platform, at least here in Kigali, that has done a lot of work in encouraging people to write, encouraging people to read. What is something special that you were seeing or expecting from this short story contest, not only for the writers, but also for the future readers?
Thank you very much. And thank you, Njonge. And welcome everyone to this awarding ceremony. From your question, as Kigali Public Library, as a platform that promotes reading and writing, COVID-19 really brought many ideas for us. As we know, everyone had a different story. Many experiences happened. No one knew what to do, what was happening, what tomorrow will bring. So it brought so many experiences, so many stories. So during this period, as Kigali Public Library, even before this contest with the UGHE, ourselves, we also organized a writing competition around this because it was an opportunity for people to express what experience they encountered during the lockdown. From even small children to adults, everyone had special experiences. So it was really a good opportunity, this period, to really increase the writing sector and the creative sector. And again, for example, from the outcome from this contest was huge. Really, we had amazing stories, and without the writing, these stories, no one can know about it. But now, since it's written, even many people will get a chance to read about them, and yeah, it's a great thing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that awesome answer. I want to come back to how this was organized, because you put together several countries, and what was the process of actually gathering the stories, getting the word out, and also receiving them. I think I'm too close to, oops. All right. We can start with Njonge. The process, maybe Mayday. Yeah.
Bum, bum.
All right. Yes. So yeah, the question, the process. Take us through, because the judges will be here in a few.
Yes.
Tell us about your stories. Yes.
Absolutely. So, yeah, putting something like that together is definitely a collaborative process. We definitely had, we're very lucky to benefit from the knowledge about what's happening in this library. They are not at their first try for that. So the collaboration, and yes, we also collaborated with juries from different spectrum of the education or creative sector, writers, professors, teachers, specialists in literacy. So that all look at storytelling and writing from a different angle. So that was very beneficial to have this diverse expertise to help us go through that. And yeah, we are very lucky. I think that in total, because we opened it globally, this contest, so we had people writing, sending their stories from the 5 continents, really. Most of the response was from this continent, Africa, so we were very happy, because that's part of our focus to really understand our issues and discuss them as a continent, so that was great. And what else can I say? Yes, after that, yes, collaboration, reading, correcting, the collaboration between the jury. I don't know if I replied to your question,
Yes,
but that was my intention.
Yes, you did. You did actually very well. Before I let you go and pass the same question to Françoise, what do you see the future of this short story contest will be? You can answer, and then I'll pass the same question to Françoise.
So as we see this happening every year, the thing is, like now, Hamwe Festival, we are the 3rd edition. It's going to happen each year. UGHE has sites here in Rwanda, but we're also developing sites. There's a small campus in Haiti. So we plan to have this contest getting more global and to continue discussing together global issues. Now, there will be a theme each year that will resonate with the festival each year, and that's what I can say so far. Yes. We also hope that you know, getting beyond, and that's a bit also of the intention of this year. We produced films, we produced shows, we had this short story contest, because it's great to have these 5 days of conversation and this festival. It's really good, but what stays after? How can we, with all these reflections and this thinking that emerge, how can we engage more? And we definitely intend to publish these stories and continue having them circulate and stay in this, I don't know, a little book or something online. We still have to work on that, as well as for the coming years, and maybe a Hamwe. The dream would be that, a Hamwe anthology where on developing global health topics 1 year after the other.
Yeah, definitely. And Françoise, as the institution of the Kigali Public Library, what do you see as the future of the anthology, but also these short stories? Oops. Are we okay? It sounds like we're okay. Can you give me a round of applause, because this is quite romantic. All right, okay, that was the tip. Okay. Guys, this is a result of the pandemic, yeah? We are getting used to technology. We're getting used to technology. We will survive this, okay? So, to Françoise.
Yes. Thank you, Dominique. As the outcome from this contest, as Kigali Public Library, we are happy that it increases the literacy in general and the creative writing. So from all these stories, once they are published, they will be out for the public to read. And also, people, I think, will benefit. People will see themselves in some stories and will be encouraged to write their own. So it's a good thing. And I hope it will give the courage to Rwandans and people all over the world to really write their stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
to be writers and to share their stories of everyday life and also to be creative.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And
Thank
I think firsthand we know the power of representation. When people see themselves in the stories that are being written and told, they feel the heaviness of the topic more.
Yeah.
So I definitely applaud you, UGHE and KPL,
Yeah.
for coming together for such a commendable project. We have 1 minute for one single question from the audience. Just one small question. If someone has a curiosity as to how this short story contest went, this is your time. Just your hand up and brief introduction and then the question. Yes, yes, sir.
I would like to ask the judges if they also spent nights correcting our stories, because it was the same case for us. We spent nights correcting, editing, proofreading our stories. So was it the same for you guys?
Thank you. That's a very good and interesting question. For your question, it's yes. It's a yes. Really, it was very hard, and we went through all the stories. They were really well written, and we took every story was original, so we could take about 3 hours reading, for example, one story. Yeah, we really valued all the stories, and it was even hard to select the winners that will be awarded today. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
If I can add something that I was not a judge, but as I observed the process, and there was 479 stories that were each read by at least 5 people to select a short group that was presented to the jury, a group of almost 40 stories, and yes, they all reviewed them. So a lot of efforts and attention was done to review each and every of the 479 stories. Yeah.
Yeah. And the judges are going to be here themselves, so you can grill them with some more questions as the process. Thank you so much, Injonge and Francois,
Thank you.
for giving
Yeah.
you your time, and thank you for such an amazing project. Yeah. So I'm going to jump in with our first set of winners tonight. Do we need like some little bit of music, or we're ready? Yeah? So let me just tell you quickly where the few countries that were represented. I think you're really curious. We have Ethiopia, we have Rwanda, we have the DRC, we have Cameroon, we have Benin, we have Haiti, we have Morocco. Doesn't that deserve a really big round of applause? Yeah, we have more countries. These are just the winners, and they come from all over, and their voices are representing a lot of Africa, and that's something that UGHE and the Hamwe Festival is really committed towards. Now I'm so excited and honored to welcome my friend, Caroline Lumuhire. She is a leader in all sense of the word. She is an author, published several stories. She works in the philanthropy and development sector. She empowers women all day, every day. I think that's your main job. And she is here to grace us with her wisdom, especially as a writer, but also looking at the pandemic, how does it affect people in the writing field? So I'm so honored to see you here. Round of applause. Online, we will have Tete Loper. Loper, developer. It's very international, this Hamwe festival, so excuse my very English pronunciation. But she's a London German author. Her real official name is Divine Murisa. She graced us last year with a beautiful book called Barefoot in Germany. Hello, Tete. And she was also part of the scriptwriters for Urunana. Anybody familiar with Urunana? Urunana, guys. You know, so we listened to that radio show. We loved it. We loved it. So she's with us from Germany. And last but not least, we have Deborah, who is part of our jury. Remember the questions that you have for the jury? We are starting to bring them on the spot. She studied at Kikichar, again with the names, and she studied medicine. She is currently interning at RMH and was a managing director at Aki Tabu. Welcome to the stage. I'm very excited to have this conversation with you. Oh, no, just over there. Yes. Just a quick test. Tete, can you hear us?
Yes, hello, I can hear you. Yes, hello, I can
Oh, hi. All right. Okay. All right. I think I'm good now. Yes. I will start my question with Caroline. You're an author. So far you've written 3 books, right? Your third one being Between Wild and Free, but you've written in French. And my question as a writer for you is not only the internal process of writing, but how does writing make us interact with issues and matters that societies face?
Yeah, that's a good question. So for me, I'll say that we are human. So we are all human beings, and whether we want it or not, emotions are.
Give us a minute, Cam. Yes. Oh.
Yes, I was saying that really like writing is a process that allows us to be in touch with our humanity. And someone was talking about how vulnerable the process can be, and I think what I love and what I loved reading the stories that were collected through the Hamwe Festival was that stories connect us. And when I was reading the stories like written by these very young authors from all over the world, it realized that that interaction is a human experience, and the stories bring us together, and I just love the process.
Nice, thank you so much. And before I let you go again, writing takes a long time. I think when we see the final process, we think, oh, she wrote it in the middle of the night, and like he said, and submitted. But it's an emotional, psychological interest happening in the world, right? So as a writer, I know one of the books was published in 2020, so the pandemic had already started. What do you think the pandemic affected in terms of writing and literature?
That's a good question. So I think really literature supported a lot people to cope up with the pandemic. I think we were isolated in our homes. Several people didn't have enough time prior to the pandemic to read interact with stories, read, listen to audio stories. For me, I celebrated that because I got enough time to read, and some did with my friends and family. But also for so many writers, because it's a very introspective, it's a very introverted experience and the process. I really hope that most writers got enough time for themselves to really craft more stories and reflect on how the world is experiencing this pandemic. We haven't experienced a pandemic in a long time. I think for the current generations, this was a new process. Depending on mental spaces people were in, I think writing has really helped people to cope up with any mental health consequences of the pandemic, but also written stories, but also people from different background and cultures to also have comfort, but also making us feel connected as a humanity.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to call in Tete, if you can hear us. Tete, if you can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. How are you? Yes. You published Barefoot in Germany, I think, last year. You were based. I think this is fine. I think I'm comforting myself.
Yeah, it's better.
Yes.
Yeah, it's better.
Yes. You can hear me perfectly?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So, Barefoot in Germany, you mentioned in an article actually last year that you had paused the book and got back to it after. How was the process of publishing in actually a pandemic?
Um, it's going to be, like, my answer is going to be coming together to what Caroline had just said. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So, yeah, I have started writing that book before, but with so many things going on, I haven't also really got time. And when the pandemic started, there was a lockdown and I was staying home. And it was a good time for me to focus on it and have time to finally finish it. And then I was already in contact with a team who worked with me on getting it published. And during the pandemic, during the lockdown, most of them, they were home. So they had time to focus and we finish it. I would say that from my experience, it was easier than if we would have published it without the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually, that makes right. No go, no going out.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the impact of writing for you? And tell us about that. Yeah. Tell us about that.
I took writing was somehow like a therapy for me. There was a lot going on around the world. Not only everything was about the pandemic, but still people were still struggling with other problems. So it was like personally a therapy that I had time to concentrate on myself, analyze my feelings and emotions and the struggles of people that I knew. And I could use my creativity to twist them and write stories. So it was kind of therapy so that all those emotions don't become like a heavy burden on me.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll come back to you in a minute. Um, I'm now with Deborah as an education specialist. Um, do you think for health and storytelling, do you think these two sectors can actually are merging in the right way? And what is the impact of having such a, curious and novel merge do to society? What is it doing to us to bring these two sectors together?
Thank you very much. Um, I've been working in the health center for some time now, and the people who work many times in health, we do not have that kind of creativity of putting what we feel on paper. So because we see a lot of things, we see many health issues in people that we meet on a daily basis, in your families, in your friends. So sometimes that can be very difficult to put it on paper. So when you meet people who are in the creative sector who are able to relate that and put it on paper, and they're able to express the feelings you are feeling in yourself, and they're able to portray it on paper, how can you not enjoy that?
Yeah. Definitely.
So definitely when you take the education sector, people are trying to learn, people are investing themselves. Yes, we do to be a medical, yes, we do to be a medical doctor, you have to, we study many years, and sometimes correlating that with the physical things that are happening in the world can be very difficult. So it is very nice when there is a bridge that has been made between the education sector and the creative sector, so that everything that is happening around can be told. because we know that literature is not only by writing or speaking. We know that after we are no longer here, we will want people who are coming after us to know what we were feeling during these times. Because we do not have the surety that there will be no more pandemic, that's what we're hoping for. But when we are looking at the health and the health system, how it is now and how we are living, you would want and expect that you want the people who are coming after you to know or to be able to read what you were experiencing during that time. So I think that is why we have that bridge in between.
I think that's very powerful too. The health sector can be very heavy information for the normal person, you know, to read the stats and the heavy terms. And merging this with creatives, as you know, we had like 4 videos also made, and we have these 14 stories selected, makes it more palpable for a normal person to understand and to relate. I just want to take you guys now to the competition itself. Caroline, what are the stories that you liked and why? What are some of the stories that you related to and why, among the ones you read?
Yeah, so Injonge and Francois talked about the diversity of the jury. We also enjoyed the diversity of the stories. For me, the stories that I enjoyed the most were around like the creative writing process. You know, we're talking about the pandemic, we're talking about global health, we're talking about, you know, people dying. And realizing that there are so many, like, how can I say, creative brains that are able to craft stories that are enjoyable for the reader while they're about such a painful experience like the COVID-19 was such, how can I say, it was such an enjoyable process. And of course, it reminded us as the members of the jury how much responsibilities we have to own the process of selecting the best, and realizing that different juries prefer different stories was also very enlightening, because I was like, okay, that's really good, because then we come from different backgrounds, and these backgrounds are informing how we also make our own judgment and selection. And the more diverse, the more voices we have, then I think we're really trying to achieve the element of equity in the selection process.
Definitely. And I mean, just being a judge was a trip itself. You know, I think you traveled to Morocco, to Benin, to Zimbabwe. What would you say kind of brought all of those countries together when it comes to the pandemic? From the stories that you read, because you know it was a trip around the world.
Yeah, I thought about humanity. I think really, you know, what this pandemic has shown us is that we are one as humanity, as a humankind. We have experienced COVID in so many similar ways across the world. And I think what resonated the most was to see that the people from other cultures, other contexts, other racial background, other socioeconomic background, they were all scared as well here. And I think that connects us as human beings. And I would say it's also one of the rare positive outcomes of the pandemic. We all became together as a community. So that really has resonated a lot with human being that I am.
Definitely. And what about you? What did that trip around the world in terms of the stories do for you, and what are the type of stories you felt you related to the most?
I think in the stories that we received, there were some pretty funny stories, because you will be reading a story, you'll be somewhere maybe in an office, maybe on rounds as you're working in the hospital, and then you'll be just laughing out loud, and people would be wondering what you're laughing about, because some stories were really funny, and I enjoyed that. And the other thing I saw that was very unique in all the stories gathered together, it was the loss that people had faced. People had lost their own. Some people were writing stories about losing their mothers, others lost their fathers, people lost their jobs, people lost patients, people lost family members. There was so much loss that was very common in all the stories we were reading. And what I appreciated about all the stories is about the writer inviting us into their personal space. Because they were able to, it was like they were giving you a welcoming to their homes. Yeah. Because some stories were so beautifully described that you feel like you are together with them in the room as that event is going on. So that's what I enjoy the most. Because being a writer, I think, also being an artist, it has been mentioned several times here that it requires you to be very vulnerable. You do not know the response you're going to get from the people, but you still open up your heart because you want to relay the message you're giving.
Right.
So what the most thing I enjoyed was that welcoming hand we were receiving. Because we were strangers, right? We're strangers, we do not really know each other, and I do not think that I know any of the authors, even if I know I'm going to know them tonight. But it was very nice to have that welcome into their living room, into their rooms. Some would even describe the colors of their rooms, some would describe the cup they're drinking in. There were also stories about mental health, depression. People were facing depression during those times. So it was really good to be invited into those people's lives and kind of be a part of it. Yeah, that's
so
what I
beautifully
enjoyed.
put. Thank you for putting that in such a beautiful way, the vulnerability with which COVID forced us to look at life, but also welcoming you guys into that vulnerability is an honor, I think. Tete, it's your turn. You also took a trip from Germany to Morocco, Benin, you know, Ethiopia, Zimbabwe. How was that experience for you?
I had a very good time. It was like intimate time.
I think you might be muted. Could you check?
Am I?
Yes. Welcome.
Can you hear me now? Okay,
Perfectly,
good.
yes.
I was saying that it was a very good experience, like very close, intimate time with the stories and the authors, and I really thank all of them to give us the privilege to read it. And what I liked so much about all the stories, they were all very deep, written, and creative, and they were somehow like a creative summary of everything that was going on around the world, what we have ourselves experienced, what we have seen in the media. It was like the same thing brought back, but told in a better way, in a creative way. There are some stories that I was reading, and in that moment I was feeling like, oh, I wish I could see this person. Like, how did they come up with such a very well written story? But we didn't know the authors, which was good. It allowed me personally to read all the stories by checking like how do they feel and how they were touching me. And it was very good also to see around the world, different countries, what has been going on and happening there. Because if I checked on the news what was happening, I only checked countries of my interest. So most of the times I was checking like what's going on in Germany, what's going on in Rwanda, or countries where I have friends. But with these stories, I could learn a bit from different countries.
Yeah, I think that's why I personally am also excited about reading the anthology as it's published, either online or as a book, because we will be taken into trips around the world with people where we don't know anyone and learn about their experiences. We have a couple of minutes for 2 questions. If you have a question, something burning, just stand up. Someone will join you with a microphone, and yeah. And I'm gonna count. You know, let's. If one, any questions, any. If not, that's also okay. We're having a conversation and a dialogue. So yeah, okay, we're good. They were elaborate enough. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. This was really an honor to have this conversation with you guys. It was deep. Thank you for the experience. You may join your seats. Can we give them a round of applause?
Thank you for having us.
Yeah? Thank you so much. Up next, as you guys already know, we're watching these beautiful videos from the authors that have been selected. Up next, we have another conversation with another set of our judges. If I can welcome them on stage, we have Martine Karekiezi, an author, poet, and painter. I'm a little bit biased because I'm excited, but round of applause. Find your seat over there.
we have Sylvestre Nhabajana, who is currently an assistant lecturer in the Department of Humanities and Language Education at the University of Rwanda. Round of applause. And then we have a personal friend of mine, Gilbert Guabigui, professor. He is a social entrepreneur, but also a writer. I have many questions for you as well. We have, last but not least, Mr. Charles Rugengamanzi, a lecturer and librarian, university visiting lecturer at the University of Rwanda and the National Police College in Musanze. So if you notice, we have a wide range of different people who went through the stories that are being highlighted tonight with the Hamwe Festival 2021 short story contest. And they read thoroughly these stories. So the conversation will be around this. All right, I'll just find a corner. All right, I'm going to start with Gilbert Guabigui. Please tell us about yourself, just briefly, what you do, and how you found yourself as a jury member.
Thanks. My name is Guabigui. I'm all sorts of things. I run a small not-for-profit organization called Youth Literacy. And what we do really is to encourage young people like, I'm not sure I'm young anymore, like me, myself, Nikki, and most of the writers, to read and write well, but also to learn throughout life. Yeah, that's it.
Right. Yes, and just next to you is Martine. What do you do? How you found yourself here with Hamwe Festival 2021?
I'm an artiste. Je suis une artiste. Je peux parler en français?
Il n'y a pas de problème.
Merci. Je suis une artiste. Je suis une enseignante. J'enseignais le français depuis 20 ans et j'ai arrêté dans un mois. Ça fait déjà un mois que je travaille à Sankofa Creatives. Je suis fondatrice de Sankofa Creatives et là, je fais mes activités de créatives. J'écris les livres pour les enfants et j'offre un environnement vraiment accueillant pour les enfants qui veulent faire la lecture, les week-ends, la peinture et l'apprentissage de la langue française.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. And then we have Sylvestre. How did you find yourself here and what do you do?
Thank you very much. You have already said it. I'm a lecturer at University of Rwanda, Course of Education. I teach literature, but my specialization is creative role. I am also a writer. I have already written 2 anthologies of poems. I've also published 2 books of stories, especially children's stories, in my mother tongue, Kinyarwanda, English. I have also written some in Swahili.
Nice.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Congratulations. And last but not least is Mr. Charles.
My name is Charles Rugengamanzi. I am director of the UR Huye Campus Library. I am managing that big library.
Yes.
And sometimes I'm a lecturer. I deliver a course entitled Library and Reading Skills, which means that encouraging students train students or researchers how to get digital information and so on.
Wonderful, wonderful. And this is a nice segue to my question to you. As someone who works in the library and who works with all this content, what do you feel this contest has done, not only to express the pandemic, but also to unveil new content for Africans and the world in general? Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the question, which is very interesting. The contest as during the pandemic or the lockdown confinement, some of them could get stuck to getting information, but due to the developed digital library, they could assist, and I get requests from different researchers asking me how they can access digital materials, which we have availed during that specific period. But for those who did not get access to that digital, it was very difficult to get information, to get hard copies, because it was not possible to work from home to the library or anywhere.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because of the lockdown as well. So yeah, definitely.
May I add something?
Of course, yes.
Thank you very much. As a lecturer, you know that when we are teaching these young people, we wanted to tackle different themes. Nowadays, with this pandemic, the young people have generated new themes, which are recurrent themes, meaning that they make our students enjoy those books. As you have already mentioned it, these works which we received are going to add to the works already in your hands something new and very interesting, because when young people are reading books which show them what is happening at the time when they are living, of course they become like wanting to read and continue reading and reading and reading. But when you read books which were written long ago, in which there are themes which are not current, of course, they cannot interest much those young people to reading. That's why these books or these works we are getting nowadays are going to help us to encourage those runners to read much more and more and more.
Yes.
Thank you.
And also kind of modernizing the content that is available for us, because it's a real new situation. So having stories that go with it is very important.
Of course.
Definitely. I want to direct the conversation to Gilbert, who is one of the toughest, probably, judges that I personally know. If you were selected and you went through Gilbert's selection process, that's great. Clap for yourself. I want to ask you, as someone who, you were not only an expert in the literacy field, but you were also somewhat of an advocate back in 2010, 2014. I'm really asking because this seems like almost a dream come true for you, for your fight and your journey for Rwandans and Africans to write. How did this competition feel, and what are you seeing as the result, as someone who participated?
Is it? Can you hear me?
I think I can.
Okay.
Yes.
First of all, the idea itself is great. There's somebody who asked about our own process as judges, and I think it's actually harder because some of us have had to spend days and nights reading the stories, correcting. I remember when we had a deadline to submit, and I had to write to the team and tell them, look, I'll go past the deadline because there are 2 stories that I have to read again. So it wasn't really easy. But going back to your question, there's Hamwe itself as a festival, as an idea, its connection to UGHE. And then I really love the idea that they launched this short story writing contest, because there's something about literature, there's something about writing. And the pandemic really showed us, we have to believe it or not, the importance of literature, because we spend most of the days at home. Some of us had, you could do work, you watch movies, you do something else, but the element of literature, the ability to read someone's story and put yourself in the feet of somebody else, experience what other people are experiencing, seeing the world through their eyes, their stories, what they are feeling. I think it's very powerful, if you ask me. Yeah. And this is an important platform. There could never be any better idea for me.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Thank you so much for that. Martine, you are a creative. What's been your experience in this, selecting the stories, and also what do you believe the impact personally for you of such an anthology going out will be to the world, to us, to the readers, etc., etc.?
Ce n'était pas vraiment facile de lire les 38 textes, être capable de sélectionner qui a plus de points, qui a moins de points. Moi, quand j'ai reçu les textes, j'ai choisi d'abord de m'habiller mon costume d'artiste. J'ai pris mon plaisir à lire. J'ai lu, il y avait les textes en français, les textes en anglais, et chacun avait sa façon de raconter son histoire. Il y avait des fictions, des non-fictions, il y avait des poèmes, il y avait tout genre de textes. En tant qu'artiste, Dominique, tu sais bien qu'on ne se compare pas. Chacun a sa façon de faire les choses et chacun est meilleur, chacun est bon dans sa façon de dire, d'écrire, de peindre. Alors, j'ai vu que les 38 textes étaient les meilleurs du monde, chacun a sa façon de dire. Alors, j'ai mis de côté mon costume d'artiste. Je suis retournée à l'école, j'ai été professeure. J'ai lu, les lignes des directives données par le UGHA. Alors, j'ai commencé à donner mes points. Mais je ne peux pas vraiment m'asseoir ici et te dire tel était meilleur, tel n'était pas meilleur. Il y a celles qui ont perdu leurs points parce qu'ils avaient mis beaucoup trop de fautes d'orthographe. Il y a ceux qui ont reçu beaucoup de points parce qu'ils avaient pu faire suivre les étapes de l'écriture des textes. Mais chacun, soi-disant dire, s'ils voulaient raconter leur vie dans le confinement, ils étaient tous meilleurs. Ce qui concerne l'impact que ça fait sur la communauté, ce que j'ai découvert, ce que je sais, c'est que chacun peut être auteur d'un livre, d'une histoire à lire. Mais il y a beaucoup de monde qui passe leur temps à raconter leurs œuvres littéraires aux autres qui les transforment en livres. Alors si UGHA a donné l'occasion à ces gens-là de raconter leur propre histoire, ils ont fait comprendre aux jeunes, aux gens-là qui passent leur temps à raconter, au lieu de raconter oralement, il faut mettre tout ça sur le papier pour que ça transforme le monde entier. Alors c'est qu'en fait, ils ont transformé en storytellers, en écrivains. Oui, il y a ces gens-là qui pensent qu'ils ne peuvent pas écrire. Ils voient les écrivains qui sont ici, qui pensent, cette personne-là, vraiment, je ne peux pas même ouvrir, je ne sais pas. Ce sont des personnes qui sont, je ne sais pas comment le dire. je ne peux pas me comparer à eux. Alors que ce sont des meilleurs conteurs, ce sont des meilleurs écrivains qui gardent leurs histoires dans leur cœur. Oui, je pense que ce festival va donner l'occasion à ces gens pareils à faire sortir ces histoires dans leur cœur et les mettre sur papier. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. As we close in a few seconds, if everyone can just tell us what do you think the impact of these stories are or are going to be?
Of course, the stories which have been written down, they're going to have impact on, especially on young people, even old ones, because all who are going to read these stories are going to learn different experiences from different countries and from different people. As already mentioned, it has been said that all of these stories were good. But since we were obliged to choose the best of the best, of course, we tried our best to choose the best of the best. Our colleagues have already said it. Choosing the best demanded us to read and read and read and read again. So these are going to have much impact on our young generation because if, as you told us, these stories are published and disseminated or given to, dispatched to many people, it would be a good opportunity for them to do it, to learn, and of course, to use what they learn in their everyday life. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
For me, it was an opportunity to hear how people are expressing and how the COVID-19 has impacted over the world. Because there are some similar points like many lost life. People has lost their family members. People have suffered to get food, money, and so on. That, as conclusion, they have concluded that there is no way to spend a lot of money, maybe to think for tomorrow, saving in otherwise, saving to avoid the crisis.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Gilbert?
Somebody mentioned the element of connection. I think we're going to realize how connected we are as human beings. And I think it's going to connect with most people, if not everyone. I think it also has the potential to foster empathy, really. There's something about reading somebody else's point of view, experience, how they felt about a situation. It puts you in their point of view as well, their shoes. So there's an opportunity for empathy really to rise. There was one story, if not more, about most of the stories were really beautifully written. And then you read a story about someone creatively expressing how something as, we call it small, something as small as a hug, how important it was in a moment, and then you realize that, well, this is probably something it's bigger than how we think. So I think there's an opportunity there. So yeah,
that's very beautifully put. Thank you so much. Oui, l'impact de ces histoires.
Au fait, ça va guérir les blessures des cœurs. It will heal those wounds. And it will help those people who don't know how writing and reading can heal themselves, to learn also to heal those wounds inside them.
Yeah, that's very beautiful. I really cannot thank you guys enough for the sleepless nights, reading the story. stories, but also for the care and attentiveness that you put into selecting these stories. So it makes us even more excited to celebrate the winners. So thank you so much for your time. The third runner-up, who is in the English section. She is from Kenya, so we will be receiving her online briefly, but it is Ruth Nyadzwa Mwangome, and her story is called Village Under Siege. Congratulations, Ruth. Can we give her a round of applause as she joins us? You are number 3, and that is such an honorable place. Where are you? Where are you? She's going to come up on one of these screens. Hello, Ruth. Hello. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yes, congratulations. How do you feel?
I'm so excited and I'm very humbled to be among the winners in this contest.
Yes, you deserve it. You deserve it. Village Under
Thank you
Siege.
so much.
All right. Thank you so much. Congratulations once again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Next, in French, we have Adama Huefa Sylvie from Benin. Congratulations. Can we give her a round of applause? Like, can you guys hype these? These people slept nights and days and nights writing. And from Benin, her story was Les billets de 10. Adama Huefa Sylvie, are you online? She's coming up. She's coming up. There we go. Congratulations, Adama. Félicitations. Tu nous entends?
Merci. Oui, oui, je vous entends.
Oh là là, félicitations, on t'entend aussi.
Allô?
Troisième place avec le...
Merci, merci beaucoup, madame.
Oui, merci. Merci beaucoup.
Allô?
Merci beaucoup, madame.
Allô?
Oui.
Merci beaucoup.
Comment est-ce que tu te sens?
Je me sens heureux.
Heureuse. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. Félicitations,
Allô?
Adama.
Oui, je me sens...
And drum roll for number 2. Guys, come on, entertain me a bit. Hello, 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 hello. We have, actually, from Rwanda. I'm so proud. I'm so proud. Number 2 in Rwanda. Dusingize Marie Immaculée for the English prize. And then for the French prize, we have Tala Foti Maxime from Cameroon. So Dusingize Marie Immaculée, she's coming online. Her story is My Name is Martha. Marie Immaculée, are you here with us? Congratulations!
Thank you.
Given us a lot of pride as a Rwandan. All right, how do you feel?
I feel extremely happy. I didn't know I could make it.
Yes, you deserve it. Congratulations. All right,
Thank you.
all right. UGHE will be in contact. Yeah. And then for number 2 in French, we have Tala Foti Maxime, à fleur de parole. Oh, nice title, right? Oh, you're recognizing it because you're a judge. Never mind. Tala is from Cameroon. Tala, are you with us? This is actually so exciting for me. Félicitations, Tala.
Allô?
Allô? Allô?
Oh, merci beaucoup pour ce prix. Ça, ça me ravit énormément d'avoir, de savoir qu'on peut se mettre dans sa chambre et on a un thème majeur qui nous parle et on a envie de l'extérioriser par les écrits afin de sensibiliser, d'informer les gens sur ce que certaines personnes peuvent vivre pendant cette période de pandémie. Très rapide d'écrire, que ça pourrait aider, pourquoi pas les organisateurs de l'information sur ce que cette personne vivent pendant.
Oui, 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 oui. Merci beaucoup. Merci félicitations. Et félicitations. Tala. Cameroun. Cameroun. Et puis, now,
merci.
Give me a drum roll. Give me a drum roll, guys. Are you guys ready for? Are you guys ready for number one? Number uno. Yeah, we're going to start with number uno in French. Le premier dans la langue française, qui nous vient de la RDC. This is like for me. De la RDC, avec son histoire Respire. Il s'appelle Tsikou Keme Yannick. Tsikou Keme Yannick. Are you online? Félicitations de Konanga.
Yes, madame.
Félicitations, félicitations numéro 1 de la compétition Hamwe Fest 2021 Short Story Contest. Félicitations. Félicitations. Comment tu te sens? Comment tu te sens?
Merci beaucoup. En tout cas, je manque de mots en tout cas pour exprimer la joie qui m'habite. Je ne savais pas que voilà, j'avais décroché le premier prix et vous avez gardé le suspense jusqu'à ce soir. Je vous remercie pour avoir organisé le concours et surtout aux membres du jury qui ont pu sélectionner mon texte. Je pense que je n'ai pas été meilleur que les autres. Et d'ailleurs, l'important pour moi, c'est d'avoir participé à ce prix qui donne l'occasion, en tout cas, aux écrivains que nous sommes, de placer un mot sur ce qui se dit aujourd'hui à travers la crise sanitaire.
Félicitations, félicitations encore. Félicitations, félicitations. Et on espère lire votre histoire très très bientôt. Tsikou Keme Yannick. And it is my absolute pleasure and honor to announce, I think we need to stand up. First of all, because this person is from Rwanda. You know, we need to stand up. They are present with us today. And their story is called The Era of Errors. Oh, wow, that's a nice title right there. And his name is Kwitonda Jean-Baptiste. Yes, come on up here, come on up here, come on up here. Give me the elbow, please. Thank you so much. How do you feel? Congratulations. Wait, let's give him a microphone. Yes.
Yeah, thanks for all being here. I'm very, very excited and a bit nervous because I didn't expect to be here on the stage, but I'm very, very excited.
Yes, congratulations once again.
Thanks.
I'm going to welcome Françoise and Injonge on the stage to hand you your certificate and prize.
Thanks. Thanks.
Please look here, the cameras are... Number one, can we keep clapping for him? Would you like to join? Please join our winner. Honestly, he deserves it. Yeah, you guys. Congratulations.